Hi everybody, Ryan Ballengee with Golf News Net. Thanks for checking out our channel once again. Hope you're staying home. Hope you are staying safe. So today we're getting back into the review business here. It's time to do some reviews. I know a lot of the country is not playing golf right now or is unable to play golf right now, but there are a lot of you that can play golf and are playing golf. And golf season is here and golf season is going to keep going. So we want to tell you about equipment that we've been able to use before courses were shut down here, and I'm able to use in my backyard golf course, do some reviews for you, and tell you about the latest stuff. So today we're going to tell you about the Adidas Codechaos Boa golf shoes. As many of you know, if you've subscribed to this channel over the years, you know I'm a big Adidas golf fan. I review a lot of Adidas golf shoes, primarily because they fit great, they feel good, and the Spikeless stuff is some of the best in the world, if not the best in the world for the category. And this year, Adidas was so excited to talk about their new Codechaos line. They were calling it their most comfortable spikeless shoe ever, maybe their most comfortable golf shoe period ever. And they were just so excited about it. And after wearing the forged fibers last year, and still have them in my home, and they're super comfortable. The Boa model is just like wearing a glove on your feet. I wanted to give these a try, and so I was able to do that when I had my annual buddy trip at the beginning of March, before everything kind of rapidly decelerated. And I used these for 5 rounds at various golf courses in Orlando for a buddy trip. I used it a couple of times also here at home just before that trip, and wanted to report back on being able to use these shoes. But first I want to tell you a little bit about them. So what you'll notice first of all is that these are Boa model shoes. You know, if you subscribe to this channel, I love Boa closure system. I will wear other stuff, but I love the Boa closure system because it gives me an exact fit every time, not only to my feet, but also to the socks that I'm wearing. Sometimes I'll wear thicker socks, like a Kent wool sock. Sometimes I'll wear a thinner sock if it's warmer out. And I need my shoe to fit that very well. And so with just pressing it in and little dial turns, the Boa, these are fabric laces. Sometimes they're coated with metal, but these are fabric ones. They twist in, they make exact adjustments. I don't have to tie and retie my shoes during the course of the round. It's great. I love this upper. It is waterproof, and it's got texture to it. It's actually pretty interesting compared to the forged fibers, because the forged fibers just feel like mesh. I mean, that's basically what it was, fancy mesh. Really awesome mesh, but fancy mesh. This is a little bit different, similar type style, but it's waterproof, and it has a covering on it so that you're not going to get water in your feet. So that means that's something that you can wear when it's a little bit rainier out. Although, of course, I'm going to recommend that if you've got a spiked pair of shoes and you're playing in the rain or wet conditions, you should probably go with the spike shoes. But if you're just trying to get out there for a round in comfort, having fun, doing something casual, nothing's on the line that more than a couple bucks in your pocket, Spikeless is going to work for you. Obviously, you're going to expect to see this in pretty much every Adidas golf shoe these days, but you're going to get a Boost midsole here. I love Boost fabric, or Boost cushioning, Boost foam. It just feels great when you're playing around. It feels especially good with a spikeless shoe because it just feels more like a tennis shoe that's natural. It does help on the spiked models for sure, but it just feels so much better with the spikeless models. But they're really proud of the traction on these shoes this year. So they have tried to make some adjustments to the traction. All of these traction adjustments are always based on research, field testing, and pressure plating, and all of that stuff that goes into figuring out how golfers put pressure on their feet during the golf swing. And they came up with a couple of different things here that are new to this model, the Codechaos. So we've got this lug system here, right here, and this goes on the rubber outsole. And these are lugs that are strategically shaped in place based on research, based on data, to deliver the traction that you need in the places where you put the most stress on your foot during the golf swing. So at the forefoot, and then in these 2 areas here. And then you've got all kinds of different traction points throughout the rest of the foot on that rubber outsole. You've got this torsion X here. You'll notice that on a lot of golf shoes these days, there's really no kind of traction component here because that's where your foot is off the ground the most during the swing. So there's really not a point in putting spikes there. You probably would notice that in your old spikes too, but this is particularly true now, especially in the spikeless world. And the same thing here. You've kind of got this little space which is just exposed boost foam. Again, that's the part of your foot where you're really not putting as much emphasis on your foot. You're not putting as much pressure on your foot during the swing. You need it here in the back and the heel. You need stability with your heel, and you need stability in how it fits your foot. So there's these kind of rubber stability areas that are built in on both sides, and that keeps your foot in the midfoot in place, and then the heel helps it stay in place and keeps you connected to the shoe, connected to the ground throughout the entire swing. With this Boa model, this is a little bit different than the regular Codechaos. The regular Codechaos is not a high top shoe. It kind of comes down to here. It has laces, of course. So they want to always do something a little different for the Boa model other than putting the closure system on it, which is great, but they're trying to do things to make it a more of a differentiating point for people who choose to go with the Boa system. So what they did for this model, they came up with a stretch knit collar, which I think is really cool. So there's no tongue to the shoe, obviously. You don't really need one with the Boa system. And so they decided to put the knit collar on. You've got these 2 points here, so you can open it up really easily and get your foot in there. And then instead of having to worry about moving the tongue, you just move this. This is effectively your tongue. By moving that, get your foot in there, pop that in, twist it closed, you're ready to go. So the big question point with any spikeless shoe is always traction, right? I mean, comfort's there almost universally, and the comfort with these shoes is through the roof. I loved actually wearing a high top shoe. Even in Florida when it was hot, it didn't feel that hot. It kind of felt like a nice short boot, if I can say that. And it's just like walking on air. I mean, that's the truth of it. And that's really helpful on those warmer days where you just feel like after a while, after 13, 14 holes of walking a golf course, that you kind of had it. You can drink as much water as you want, but eventually you're going to tire out a little bit. And this kind of helped my feet feel good throughout the entire round. So I was very happy with that. The traction components are good. They, again, are great for dry conditions. They are great for everyday conditions. Even when it's a little bit wet, it works out pretty well. But if you're thinking about slipping on the golf course, if you're worried about that kind of thing, I'm always going to recommend a spiked shoe. But for the everyday kind of golf that you're playing, when you're just going out there to go play 18, to go have fun, feel comfortable, it's not a tournament round, all of those types of things, I think Spikeless is great. It just does exactly what you need it to do. It doesn't weigh you down. And at the end of the day, when you get to the 19th hole, or when you're done, you go into your car, you don't feel like you've been walking with 5-pound boots on the entire way, or walking with concrete or ankle weights or any of those types of things. And I like that. Again, not always ideal for when it's a long slog and you need to make sure that you don't slip whatsoever while you're playing golf. But for these purposes, for everyday purposes, I think most people should have a spikeless shoe. I think you should have 2 pairs of shoes, to be honest, 2 pairs of golf shoes. You should have a spikeless shoe, and you should have a spike shoe if you play any kind of competitive golf. And frankly, you should just have one if you think about playing in the rain whatsoever. If you don't, if you're someone who is aquaphobic and you don't want to play in the rain whatsoever, fine, just get your pair of spikeless and be happy. You're going to do just fine for the most part. Again, these are not expensive shoes. They're not particularly overpriced. The regular Codechaos is $150. These are a little bit more, $180, $190 range. That depends on where you're shopping, of course, and there are a lot of deals to be had these days. So if you're trying to get into a new golf shoe for this year, whenever you're able to play golf again, that might be a good time to start looking at that kind of thing. And not just golf shoes, but other golf equipment as well. So you can get these probably a little bit less than the rack rate if you shop around at the right places. They're extremely comfortable. They do fit a little bit tighter than maybe you would expect from other Adidas shoes. Just a little bit. I mean, I can notice it because I wear a lot of golf shoes, but just a little bit. So just be aware of that. If you have a particularly wide foot and you do want to size up, maybe a half size, that might be something worth looking at for you. But other than that, this is going to fit true. It's going to feel good. You're going to look good, most importantly, I guess. And you're going to enjoy walking around in these. And that's the hallmark of a good golf shoe. That's exactly what they need to be able to do. So if you're interested in more information, sizing, ordering, all that stuff, go to adidasgolf.com. You can always search other retailers as well if you have someone who can get you curbside pickup or get you quick delivery or anything like that. Always take advantage of those shipping rates that are free if you can get them with a certain threshold of order, or you can just go to a store and get them and put them in your car and go home with them. So follow me on social media at Ryan Ballengee. Let me know your thoughts on these shoes. Let me know your thoughts on your favorite golf shoes. And thanks for watching. We will see you next time.